Welcome. My name is Ruediger Glatz and I have the pleasure to give you a little video tour through my exhibition reflecting Pasolini, curated by Alessio de Navasquez, which is on display here at the Palazzo delle Esposizioni in Rome from the 8th of July until the 4th of September 2022. I show two series. One is called Embodying Pasolini, a series of photos about the performance Embodying Pasolini by the great Tilda Swinton and Olivier Assayas that you see in this first room. The other series in the second room is called On PPP and is my homage to Pier Paolo Pasolini. My journey into the world of Pasolini started in June 2021, when I was asked to come to Rome to follow the performance of my friends Tilda and Olivier. To jump a little further back, my journey working with them started in 2012, when Tilda Swinton, a renowned performer, started to collaborate with Olivier Assayas, a famous historian in the context of fashion and at the time director of the Fashion Museum of the city of Paris, Le Palais Galliera. Olivier asked Tilda to collaborate in his first performance with the title Impossible Wardrobe, for which he chose about 40 historical pieces from the museum's collection for Tilda to deal with. Tilda and Sandro, her partner, a great painter whom I've known since he was born, invited me to join the performance. I asked if I could take some photos from my series The New Black, which is a portrait of the world of fashion I've worked on since 2009. Olivier liked my images so much that he had the idea of doing a book with them and asked me to stay for 3 more days to shoot all the performances. This was the beginning of a beautiful collaboration that made me follow all their 5 performances and 14 in total of Olivier so far. So in June 2021, Olivier and Tilda did bring their performance Embodying Pasolini for the first time on stage at the Mattatoio here in Rome. Their performance deals with the film work of Pasolini, over them working with original costumes that Danilo Donati created with Pasolini and the House of Ferrani at the time. When I came to Rome, Pasolini was to me just the name of a famous Italian director, and the performance was my very first contact with his work. To better understand, I watched my first movies and could feel his movies' poetry and political complexity soon. The performance is Tilda's and Olivier's homage to Pasolini, while the work you see here is a result of my collaborative work with them. When I shoot their performances, I mostly start while they rehearse. On the one side, I get a better understanding of the performance, and on the other side, I can freely move while I'm, of course, during the performance itself, depending on the setting, very limited in my movement. My goal is always to get an understanding of their vision to create my take on it. You could say I use my technical options to intensify their work through my lens. For this I use classical stills, long exposures and multiple exposures. The landscape images you saw here on the left side are dedicated to the process of the performance, while the portrait images on the right side focus on Tilda and the costumes. All these images were shot during the process. Now we go into the second room, which is dedicated to my series on PPP. When I was asked to do this show, I decided to create a second series, first with the idea to shoot places from the movies. Soon I realized this is not enough and added places of inspiration and places of his personal life. The deeper I got into the rabbit hole, the more excited I got, and what you see here is an insight in an ongoing process, meaning the series is still not finished. We hung the images in a chronological order so you have an insight in my journey that started in April 2021. The very first image shows the medieval fortress of Rocca Minore in Assisi, which is a reference to the medieval times that Pasolini uses in several of his movies. This image shows a fresco I found as well in Assisi, illustrating Saint Julian slaying his parents, which is a reference to Pasolini's complicated relationship with his parents. While he confessed many times his dislike for his father, he had a strong bond and love for his mother, the relationship he addressed in his movie Oedipus, in which he tells the story of Oedipus. In the movie, both parents die. Another motif I found in Assisi is a robe on display at the Basilica of San Francesco, dated before 1226. This robe is a material reference to many costumes in his movies made from a very robust felt. The Giotto fresco Sermon of the Birds in Assisi is another clear reference to Uccellacci e Uccellini, in which the actor Toto, as a monk, gets the order from San Francesco to pray to the birds. This is an original wedding wheel from his movie Salo that I shot after another Embodying Pasolini performance in Solomeo in April 2022. In Perugia, I had the chance to shoot during a private tour with Tilda and Olivier at the Museum Galliera Nazionale dell'Umbria, this Jesus Christ on a cross that seemed to fly. This is a reference to his movie Teorema, in which the character Emilia, after she becomes a saint, floats over a house. So, for the following images we have to jump a bit. I came to Arezzo to capture the fresco Legend of the True Cross by Piero della Francesca at the Chapel of San Francesco. This fresco is on the one side with the top scene a reference to his movie Il Vangelo secondo Matteo. On the other side, the scene below is a reference to the movie Il Decamerone, in which he plays himself, the painter Piero della Francesca, a student of Giotto painting this fresco. Due to COVID restrictions, I had to book an appointment and went to have a nice lunch with a glass of original wine. During lunch, I watched again Il Vangelo secondo Matteo to have a better understanding of the reference. When I left the restaurant, this young man from Palermo passed by, and I could not believe my eyes, since he looked like Jesus in the movie. I could not but ask him if I could get a portrait of him. If you have not seen the movie, Google Jesus and Pasolini to feel my surprise at the time. The next stop was Bologna, where I first went to the birthplace of Pasolini to find out that the building was under construction. To experience the location, I sneaked into the house and found this scene representing for me the moment his life saw the light of birth. This is another motif from his birth house, which represents for me solitude, which is an element that you can find in several of Pasolini's movies. This is the original crow from the movie Uccellacci e Uccellini, representing a left-wing intellectual before Palmiro Togliatti's death, that is getting eaten at the end of the movie by Toto and Ninetto Davoli. Togliatti was the leader of the Italian Communist Party from 1927 until his death in 1964. My next stop was Salò, where I visited the Grand Hotel La Villa Feltrinelli. This place was an element of Pasolini's inspiration for his movie Salò. When Mussolini was in 1943 removed from power, German parachute troopers rescued and escorted him and his family to this beautiful place at the Lake Garda. As well, they guarded them until he died in 1945. Here, he announced the Republic of Salò with the intention of getting back to power. Pasolini projected the plot of the novel 120 Days of Sodom by Marquis de Sade to this place in the times of fascism to create his strong criticism of it. This is the entry hall of the Grand Hotel La Villa Feltrinelli. Today, this is a beautiful place of luxury and peace and fully in contrast with Pasolini's movie. Another place on the site, the swimming pool at the place where in 1944 was a tennis court Mussolini and his family played tennis on. This image shows the Tiber riverbank in Rome and is a reference to his movie Acatone he did in 1961. A statue of an angel holding a cross on the Ponte Sant'Angelo in Rome, another reference to his movie Acatone. A building at the Piazza Tommaso de Cristoforis in Rome, set of Mama Roma's first apartment in the movie Mama Roma. The apartment represents in the movie her old life as a prostitute. She plans to change to live a better life raising her son Ettore, who grew up with his father in the countryside. This is another reference to the movie Acatone and shows the house of Acatone in the Pineto district of Rome, which did not change very much from 1961 until today. The main difference is probably the name of the street. This is another house in the Pineto district as a reference to the social class Pasolini was dealing with, just as using its language. The Church of San Felice of Cantalice at Centocelle in Rome is another reference to his movie Acatone. A building in the Quadrato neighborhood, the set of Mama Roma's second apartment in Mama Roma, representing the endeavor for a better life. This is the same building, which was in 1962 when Pasolini filmed Mama Roma, a modern and recently built complex for the bourgeoisie of Rome. This is the Basilica di San Giovanni Bosco, another reference to Mama Roma. This is the place where she comes in contact with the bourgeoisie, the social class she seeks to find a better life. Ruins in the Roman Borgata, another place of Mama Roma where her son Ettore hangs out with his friends. These elements reminded me a bit of the sculptures of the Eastern Islands. The next stop was Ostia, next to Rome. This motif shows a part of the memorial monument built for Pier Paolo Pasolini at the place where he was found murdered in November 1975. The site was turned into a memorial park that is partially a natural resort. I thought the place was energetically changed over this. This motif represents for me the way of life towards the light. few meters away, I found this bush of thorns representing for me the struggle that Pasolini faced for most of his life. Being a critique of Italian society and gay, many people tried to stop him from doing what he did and pressed charges against him. In his lifetime, Pasolini went 33 times to courts because of his art, opinions, and lifestyle. Another view of the Memorial Park. Behind each rock you can find a poem of Pasolini. This is the beach of Ostia as a reference to the movie Ostia, in which, in the final scene, a brother kills his brother over a woman, hitting him with a stick on his head, which was the same way Pasolini was killed here. Another view on the beach of Ostia. I call this piece the Trinity, since the soil represents for me the Father, the ocean the Son, and the sky the Holy Ghost. Pasolini was an acclaimed atheist who came from the Christian tradition and developed his belief. I see parallels in my personal life and belief, and image is a reference to this. The next image shows Donna Olympia in Rome as a reference to Pasolini's novel Ragazzi di Vita. Now we come to the Torre di Chia, Pasolini's private retreat. A medieval tower he bought and developed in 1970. This is the place where he wrote his last and unfinished novel Petrolio, which was very likely the reason he had to die in such a brutal manner. You can approach the Torre di Chia from two sides. I decided to take the hike through the surrounding forest, which was a beautiful experience. On my way, I took once a wrong junction and came to this other beautiful place, full of natural mystery, the Falls of Chia. This is the gate to his former retreat and represents to me privacy. This big picture, showing Tilda wearing the head of Toto from Uccellacci e Uccellini, is a reference to this movie and at the same time the connection piece in the show between both series. I shot this image in the context of the Embodying Pasolini performance that took place in April 2022 in Solomeo. For this image I asked Tilda to wear the hat and pose for me. Now we come to the last pieces of On PPP, showing the Matatoio in Rome, which is in this exhibition the beginning, having been the location where Embodying Pasolini took place the first time, and the end of my first approach to work my homage for Pier Paolo Pasolini. This sculpture on top of the entry gate of the Matatoio represents for me, on the one side the resting in life, and on the other side the male tendency to fight. The Matatoio is the former slaughterhouse complex of Rome and therefore linked with the working class of Rome. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this little video tour and access to the thoughts and stories behind my works in this exhibition.